nothing anywhere. It's the best. Okay, I wanted to talk to you today about food behaviours and give you some helpful tips that you can use straight away when you're thinking about cutting out food. I see a lot of people, and one of the things that they tell me a lot of the time is that they want to, how do I cut out XYZ, or I'm thinking about cutting out this particular food or group of foods it might be. Now, I am not an expert in dietetics by any stretch of the imagination at all, and you should always see these guys for any specific dietary advice because they're the best, they're the bomb. However, I do work with people wanting to change their habits and behaviours around food, and while it's always great to look at improving our health, that's a great goal. When it comes to cutting out food or restricting food or restricting food groups, I always start with why. Why that food? What is going on? What is that about? Why is this food particularly causing you problems? What problems are you having around this food? What does that food bring up for you? Explain more about it. It's not simple. It's not just a matter of how do I cut out sugar? Okay, these are the steps to cutting out sugar. There's way more to it than that, because what people think that they need to do may actually not be what they need to do. They might be wanting to cut something out. You might be wanting to cut something out of your diet because you think that you should, not because it's actually causing you any problems at all. Or you might be wanting to cut something out because of the emotions you have around a particular food or food group, which is usually a huge big deal, and that's what I spend a lot of my time working with people on. We work on the emotions associated with certain foods. So guilt and shame are two huge emotions that people have with food. And when we start working on those feelings, the issue around the food itself tends to go away, or at least it gets better, it improves. What people often need is to have peace around food. So sometimes it might not be the fact that they're having too much sugar at all, it might be how they feel about having what they're having. And a lot of the time, we just need to work around why they think this food is a problem. If it is a problem, let's look at how we can manage that. How are you going to manage how you feel around that particular food? Deal with that. And there's a lot of that sort of stuff. We all have things that are around food, usually. So that can be often a big thing for a lot of people, It's not as easy as just saying, I'm going to cut this out and then cut it out. And as dietitians, we'll always advise you, there's no need to be cutting out a food or a food group for any other reason unless you've been diagnosed with something, medically diagnosed with something, and you can't actually have it because it is making you ill. Health-wise, look, I'm not going to get into it right now, but health-wise, our bodies are pretty good at figuring out what it needs and what it doesn't need. So there's usually no need to cut out a whole food group from anything. So I encourage you that if you get caught up in, I'm having too much sugar, I need to cut sugar out, or how am I going to do that, I love sugar too much, or I love my chocolate, how am I going to cut all my chocolate out? You might not actually need to. So I would encourage you to take a step back, see it for what it is, and kind of go, okay, why do I think that this food's causing me a problem? Okay, is it how I feel about it? Am I feeling guilty when I'm having this food? Am I feeling sick when I'm having this food? What's my body doing? Am I feeling unwell? Am I getting headaches from this stuff, or is it something else? When you start to analyse it like that, take a step back from it, you can identify pretty quickly what actually is going on. It might not be the food itself, it might be something else that you're associating with it. And if that's you, then you need to do some work around that, and kind of that I do that with my clients, and there's dietitians and specialists that do that as well. So just take it easy on yourself, and don't just jump to a conclusion that you need to go on a diet or cut out carbs or cut out meat or cut out dairy or whatever it is. You might need to, it's a possibility, but it's not a definite. So just take it easy, take a step back, see what it is that's happening. It might just be these emotions associated with it. We all, a lot of us do have those sort of issues from very young, or maybe they've crept up over adolescence and adulthood, as we do sometimes. We have some disordered eating practices around food, so that's not uncommon. So I'd really encourage you that if you do get the urge to start a diet or cut out a food group, take a step back, figure out what's going on for you, talk it through with someone who knows what they're doing, so then they can help you through that, because you might not actually need to change what you're eating at all. Often it is that you need to have more peace with food, finding more peace, not having so much fighting internally around what you're eating, how much you're eating, and things like that. And that's another video, because that will take a few videos actually to get through that. Okay, so if you liked my video today, thank you so much, and share with your friends. And I'd like to invite you, if you're struggling with body image, or you know someone who might be struggling with body image, I'd encourage you to come over to my closed group, Body Confident Warriors, where we're having a conversation about this sort of stuff, and getting some support in there from the other members, and just kind of being really real about everything in there. I really like the group, it's great. So that's my day 5 video. We're back tomorrow with day 6, and thank you for watching. Bye.